Hello, Algebra 1. Today we are doing a review for our Unit 3 test, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is practice finding the slope and y-intercept of each of these graphs. We're going to make sure to include units when necessary. So these first couple graphs do not have any units. My slope, I'm going down and over. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 2. Remember, when we find slope, this is change in y over change in x. And so this is negative 6 over 2. Always simplify. My y-intercept is where I hit the y-axis, which is up at 0, 4. All right, next up, this is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines, we should know, always have a slope of 0. And our y-intercept is at 0, 5. Next up, we have a vertical line. Vertical line has an undefined slope, and it has no y-intercept. Don't put a 0, just put none or not applicable. All right, finally, we have a line that does have units here. So in order to find the slope, we're going up and over. That's up 2 over 1, which is just a 2. I also want to include those units. So I went up, that was number of deliveries, and over per day. So my units will be deliveries per day. My y-intercept is here at 3. Again, make sure you have that 0, comma. All right, that was your review of slope and y-intercept from a table, or excuse me, from a graph. Now we're going to go on to a table. So when we do this from our table, we're going to do our jumps. 53 to 35, if I go ahead and subtract, that should be down 18. And this is down 18 and down 18. And on this side, I am up 4. And again, I do my change in y over change in x. So that's a negative 18 over 4. Which will simplify to negative 9/2. All right, so next we're going to look for that y-intercept. Again, the y-intercept is always where you have a 0, comma for your x. And so that's going to be at 17. All right, let's try it again, this time with units. We have up 6 and up 2. Again, make sure you do your change in y over change in x. And that's 6 over 2, which is 3. And we did 6 was goals and 2 was minutes. So this is goals per minute. Y-intercept, again, you're looking for that 0, comma. And so 0, 3. All right, now we're going to do the exact same thing, but from a function rule. So remember, we are in the form mx plus b. So your slope is m, that is whatever is with the x. Your y-intercept is the other number added or subtracted on. Make sure you have that 0, comma. Okay, again, mx plus b. M is just attached to the x. B is whatever is added or subtracted on. Make sure you have that 0, comma. Right? And again, sometimes we're not in the correct order. So for example, this one is kind of like b plus mx. Again, whatever is with that variable, which is normally x, that's your slope. Your y-intercept is that other number with a 0, comma. All right, next we're going to move on to doing the same thing, but from a situation. So we are going to write a function rule first, just like we did in Unit 2. If Juan has $750 in his bank account and he's spending $35 each week, make sure you start with that dependent variable, which will be his money. A equals, he's got $750, he's spending, so minus $35 each week. And now your rate of change, remember this is just the same as slope, is just like we did on the last page. It's that number with the variable. Please be careful though, it's not 35, it's negative 35. And this is dollars per week. Our y-intercept is like how much money he started with, which is your $750. Make sure you have your 0, comma. All right, let's go ahead and practice our slope formula. Remember, slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you can go ahead and label your points if that's helpful to you. So I have 6 minus 6 over 2 minus negative 9. This gives me a 0 over 11. Now, if you're confused about which is 0 and which is undefined, literally just type it in. When you type this in, you get a 0, and so that is your answer. All right, let's try it again. y2 is negative 1 minus 7 over negative 9 minus negative 3. That's going to become a negative 8 over negative 6. Make sure you math frac. Okay, we do not want decimals. We're going to math, enter, enter, and I want a positive 4/3. All right, finally, m equals y2, 3 minus y1, 7 over x2, 1 minus x1, 1. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. Try typing this in. Oops, that's 1. And you're going to notice you get an error. If you type this into Desmos, it will literally say undefined, and that is the answer we're going to put, undefined. All right, let's try another one. On day 1 of vacation, the temperature was 68 degrees. On day 7 of vacation, the temperature was 56 degrees. So the first thing we're going to do is write 2 ordered pairs that represent this situation. I'm going to choose to make a table instead. Time is always independent, and so days are going to go here, and temperature is going to be dependent. So on day 1, it's 68, and on day 7, it's 56. For what is the change in temperature, now I'm going to go ahead and find the slope. So this is down 8 degrees over 6 days. I'm sorry, it's not down 8, I lied. It's down 12. So negative 12 over 6, because we do change in y over change in x, is negative 2 degrees per day. All right, our last sort of slope type problem before we get to graphing is this missing value question. So we're going to find y such that a line going through those points has a slope of negative 2. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to set up our slope formula. So again, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And ordinarily, we would have numbers, but now we don't have all of our numbers. Instead, we're given our slope. So our slope is negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. Now, before I go ahead and cross multiply, I am going to simplify right here. 9 minus 3 is 6. Sorry, I apparently am losing my voice. Now we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So 1 times y minus 1 equals 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Distributing that 1 doesn't really do anything. So we are just going to add our 1 over, and you'll get y equals negative 11. All right, now we're going to go on to graphing. This first equation is already in slope-intercept form, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring this down. My m is negative 3/4. My b is 0, negative 3. All right, because again, our formula is mx plus b. So when I go ahead and graph this, I'm going to start at the y-intercept. It's always on the y-axis, so down at negative 3. And then this negative 3/4 means I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. down 3, and right 4. And then once I run out of room, I'm going to reverse it. Up 3, left 4, up 3, left 4. All right, now our issue with 17 is that this is not in slope-intercept form. So first things first, we're going to have to solve for y. We do that by adding 8x over. Remember, these cannot combine. We're just going to rewrite it as 8x plus 20. And then divide everything by 4. That's going to give us a 2x plus 5. Now I can identify slope and y-intercept. My slope is 2. My y-intercept is 0, 5. Start up at 5. Make sure you're on that y-axis. And again, the slope of 2 is like 2 over 1. Up 2, right 1. And again, when you run out of space, you do want to go backwards. So down 2 and left 1. And then you're going to draw your line. All right, these next two, we're going to practice graphing with x and y intercepts. So remember, when we're graphing with x and y intercepts, we do not need to solve for y like we do in slope-intercept form. Instead, we are plugging in a 0 for x and y to find our intercepts. So if I'm starting with my x-intercepts are on the x-axis. That means the y is 0. Cancel it out. Negative 2x equals 8. Divide. You're going to get x equals negative 4. Make sure you actually write the whole point. Negative 4, comma 0. For the y-intercept, that means it's on the y-axis and x is 0. So this part cancels out. 4y equals 8. Divide by 4 on both sides and we'll get 2. Make sure you write the whole point, 0, comma 2. Then you can plot your 2 points. Like this. Let's try that one more time. Again, we are not putting in slope-intercept form. We are finding the x and y intercepts. X-intercept, that's when y is 0. Cancel it out. 6x equals negative 30. Divide by 6 on both sides. X equals negative 5. Make sure you write your whole point. For the y-intercept, this means that the x is 0. Okay, so 6 times 0 cancels. You're left with 3y equals negative 30. Divide by 3 on both sides, and we get negative 10. Again, make sure you write the whole point. Y is negative 10. That means the x is 0. And then you can plot both of those points. All right, flipping to our last page, we're going to talk about horizontal and vertical lines, and then parallel and perpendicular slopes. So remember, for vertical and horizontal lines, we are dealing with the acronym HIVIX. Horizontals are y equals, verticals are x equals. So when it says x equals, first find that number on the x-axis. X equals is a vertical line. Y equals, put a 0 on the y-axis, and y equals is a horizontal line. Okay, y equals again, find 7 on the y-axis, draw a horizontal line. And finally, x equals 2, put a 2 on the x-axis, x equals our vertical lines. All right, our last topic before we are done is talking about parallel and perpendicular slopes. So the first thing you're going to have to do is make sure that you are in slope-intercept form, which 24 we definitely are in. It's y equals mx plus b. Now, we don't care about the b at all. We just care about the m. So our slope is 5. Parallel slopes are always the exact same thing. That's going to be 5 as well. Perpendicular slope, again, what's going to happen is you're going to flip it over and change the sign. We call that the opposite reciprocal. Flip 5 over, we get 1/5. change the sign, we make it a negative. Now for number 25, we're going to do the same thing, but there's one major difference, and that difference is y is not solved for yet. So we are going to have to start off by dividing everything by -6. Please be careful with your signs. 2 divided by -6. Remember, no decimals allowed. We're going to math rack. That's a -1/3. Don't lose your x. -24 divided by -6 is a +4. Now we are in slope-intercept form. Now you can identify your slope. Your parallel slope, again, is always exactly the same as the original slope. Your perpendicular slope, we are flipping it over and changing the sign. So I went 3/1. Instead of a negative, it's now a positive. You can also just write this as 3. Let's quickly practice graphing a parallel line. Again, if it's parallel, you know we have the same slope. So first things first, I'm going to actually plot the point they want me to. -6, -4 is down here. All right, so we're going to have a line that goes through that point. Now, if I want the same slope, I got to figure out what sort of slope I have. So I'm going to go down and over. Oops. Down 3 over 3 gives me a slope of -1. And now I am going to do the exact same slope, down 1 over 1 for my line. And there it is. All right, let's try this one more time. First, plot the point given to you, -5, -4. Next, find the slope of your line by going up and over or down and over. This is going to be up 8 and over 2. 8 over 2 is 4, or 4/1. And now that's the slope I'm going to do with from my new dot. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And then draw your line. All right, there you go. That was your Unit 3 test review. Good luck on your test. I hope you have a great day. Bye.